We're here at CES 2023. We're in the HOLON vehicle. Dr. Kornhauser and Gregory Trandell are going to have a conversation about what this thing's about.
So that you can give us an introduction, how you've gotten here and so on.
Oh, certainly. The HOLON vehicle is an electric level 4 autonomous people mover. So what that means, autonomous level 4 means that there is no brakes available, there is not a steering wheel, but it operates fully autonomously under conditions. Under conditions is generally for a geofenced area.
So this is what we're interested in, where you designed this to be a how many seated vehicle and with opportunities for standees too and crush loads. Tell us a little bit about the passenger size.
It is. We will have a 10-seated passenger and then 5 people that can stand. The interior that you see here is what is our premium interior. We will be launching with one that is more for public transportation, but this is an image of what you can do with it, because there will be additional markets or opportunities like homeowners associations that would like to reconfigure or have a different feeling for it. So this is what the premium look would be.
As everybody knows, we're coming at this with respect to trying to provide mobility in communities, and if you want to call it transit, we'll call it transit. We prefer to call it autonomous transit networks, kiosks as we've done and told so many, but of course we will want a premium interior because of course the people that are looking to move do probably deserve it and should have it. So we sort of like this concept. The size, the opportunity to be able to, especially if we look at the demand in places like Trenton, the peaks actually occur twice, 3 times, and maybe 4 times. They occur going to school, coming from schools, because we intend that the children, they can't drive, most of them,
Right.
deserve to have some high quality mobility. And then of course part of the TrentonMOVES project serves the Trenton Transit Center, which means access not from Trenton all the way up and down the corridor, New York City and so on and so forth, and in fact Newark Airport into the world and Las Vegas and who knows everywhere else.
To support your points and your needs, as you'll see as it goes through the display up here above, there's 2 use cases. One is inline loop, which is a dedicated route which you set. You set it based upon your needs of where it needs to go and the timing, and you can then adjust that. The other one, as you had mentioned, which caught my ears, was children needing to go to school.
Right.
And the parents work, but they need to be assured that they're getting from point A to point B, and you don't want the doors to open in a location or a position where they don't expect it to. Ride pooling in this case would be what you're referring to.
Our interest looking forward is to have the interest as 24/7. We like to say 350 days a year.
Okay.
We would be very happy with 350. And who knows what year, 2832 we'll get to 365.25, but we can get an enormous amount of value out of providing high quality mobility with high quality interiors 350 days a year. My goodness, it will be appreciated by the community, our perspective.
Yes. So, another couple of points that you talked about, the vehicle itself being electric and that it can go into smaller areas that the large buses could not.
Sure,
Right.
of course, and sit parked at a kiosk waiting for people to show up, as opposed to running around empty. I mean, we understand all that. At least we think we understand all that, and from the design of the vehicle, we think it is enormously attractive.
Well, thank you for that.
No.
And as we were talking a little bit earlier, this could be supplementing the current transit that is already in place, or to be the main source of transit.
Well, we think it will be the main source of transit. There isn't much to supplement the kiosk in Trenton. We're not going to take away ridership from the New Jersey transit rail operation up and down the corridor. My goodness, no, that's not what we're looking. We're looking to complement it, and I think that's to us, we think a real appropriate vision for these kinds of things, or at least one vision. There are, of course, other visions, but at least one.
Another thing, part of our vision, as you had mentioned about it, is that fewer cars. I originally come from the automotive industry, so I support vehicles because it's what got me my education. But I realize that in large cities, more green space is necessary.
Yeah.
And this can be a replacement for a vehicle for someone that's living in the city because of the flexibility of it and the frequency.
We of course believe that. We think that we think about Trenton with 100 vehicles, 50 or 60 kiosks. That's the beginning. You know, serving 15,000 person trips per day, but that's less than 10% of the total addressable market. The rest of that addressable market, much of which is also people that don't have access to cars, but it's people that will leave their cars in the driveway.
Yes.
Or, because, my goodness, if I'm commuting to Wall Street from Trenton, I mean, I have to drive my car to park at this station, take the train to get my car. But if this is available, sure, walk access to my home, walk to it, takes me. When I get off the train, there are ones that take me and my neighbors back home. Why would I deal with my car? We're all within that space.
Right. And our intent when building this is automotive grade. There have been several other companies that have had some difficulties in the launch and in the sustainability of how to continue to manufacture. That comes through what is UTCO, total cost of ownership.
Okay.
And that's what we're focused on when
Excellent.
we get this to market, the cost of ownership for either the city or the company that deploys it, and ultimately the rider base. The rider base needs to be able to use it, and that's where, go ahead.
We agree, and we think that that's the appropriate way to go. And again, our view on that, when we look at the simulations that we've done with vehicles and ridership and so on, if you end up, my goodness, being able to deliver 100 person trips a day out of a vehicle, and you do that 300 days a year and so on, and you take whatever the capitalization costs are, and you divide it by that big number of person trips, my goodness, it's down in it's 10 cents. It's order of 10 cents. It's not order of $1. It's not order of $10. You look at a 53-foot bus, my goodness, most of the time it's empty. It's rarely full, and it's riding around empty. And if you look at the productivity of even of a bus, with that thing, they don't get 100 person trips a day. So anyway, we've gone through much of that, and we really appreciate the fact that we think this is an opportune vehicle to bring to, and it's not only Trenton. We look at Trenton. We have other Trentons, right? We have Perth Amboy. We have Patterson. We think we have Jacksonville. I mean, we got, when we were all down at the Florida AV conference, we got a lot of interest in Jacksonville, Tallahassee. There are 100 cities in the United States for which this is an opportunity. And of course, we think that this started exponential growth, scale, profitability for everybody.
I also wanted to let you know I had some takeaways from the 2022 smart driving cars. That's
great. I mean, we pumped this. I'm sorry, but
well, no, it is. If you let me finish real quickly. Is that on the smart driving cars and also the TrentonMOVES, there was something that struck me that I thought that our company was not doing enough of, and this was being inclusive. There was a gentleman there that he was blind. I don't remember his name.
Neil. He's blind also. Or,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great guy, right? Yeah.
That is part of the inclusivity that we have now built into it, which we continue to consult people that are visually or hearing impaired. And in this case, we also have automatic deployable ramp. So ADA compliant.
Well, we're looking to help you on that because we're thinking that the only place people really get on and off this thing is at kiosks. In other words, and since I guess you go front, there is no frontwards or backwards. You can go in and go. I mean, it's the same thing to you, isn't it? Or
It is not. It is not, because this is unidirectional.
Okay.
So it will go one way. It is rear wheel driven,
Okay.
front wheel steer.
Okay, but you know, we can evolve to that. I mean, hey, if you look at the cars that are out here, they're not the cars that were out here 50 years ago or 75 years ago and so on. Things evolve. But even with that and pulling up to a space, we expect that the curb space, curb height at the kiosk
Yep.
matches this exactly. So that therefore, what? Tell me why we can't, why that's not a good idea. Go ahead.
No. You
Yeah.
can. And let me a couple
Yeah,
of things.
okay.
This has an air ride suspension.
Okay.
Give us comfort, smooth,
Okay.
silk. When you're going down the road, you don't
Okay.
get the bumps, right?
Okay.
It has a double wishbone air ride suspension,
Okay.
which is usually in premium vehicles.
Okay.
So you get a comfort level that also gives us premium feel.
Okay.
That also, with air ride suspension, allows the vehicle to kneel when necessary. Kneeling it can lower like the big buses do.
Sure. I mean, you can match it if you don't do it. If the curb happens to not be, then you can match to it. I
Right.
mean, I'm suggesting the opportunity to basically have an easy way to get wheelchairs in and out.
We
Include
will
a ramp or not include a ramp
Right.
is relatively easy to do.
in the deployment in your area with Beep, that we would set the area exactly where it will stop.
Sure,
if there's a
of course.
curb
Right.
or not a curb,
Right.
we can adjust for that
Right.
because the
Right.
ramp will support either one.
Right.
When, when do you expect to go into serial production with this?
In late 2025.
Okay. And what do you look at? How many are you looking to produce? Can you say that?
At this time, we
Yeah,
don't release the production
Right.
numbers,
Right.
but we have a slower ramp-up curve.
Okay.
And then we expect that that's going to grow significantly because people like yourself and TrentonMOVES are getting a lot of demand.
The idea is to basically start out with order 100, and if in fact we are able, we think that of course at the beginning that there has to be an attendant on board. Okay?
This is going to be the best, and for a couple of reasons. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Is that the attendant is there for educating the people.
Exactly.
It's okay. It's going to come to a stop. Be prepared, but it's also there just in case as you define that fixed route, because you're going to be in mixed traffic. That they're there to handle any situation. Once it goes into full autonomy, where it's planned and you already have the history.
He said it better than I could say it, right? Exactly. We're the same thing. You know, there's been a lot of work done on the technology part of this stuff. There's been essentially no work done on the psychology. And the reason one needs, at least we believe one needs an attendant, is to deal with the psychology of the customer.
To talk more, we can go into a conference room. We'd just like to get some.
Yeah.
other-
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
sure,
let's do that.
sure. So, thank you very much.